This week's parsha is the great Pegisha, the great confrontation between Yehuda and Yosef, where Yosef has threatened to take Binyamin away and imprison him because he accused him of stealing the Gavia. And Yehuda comes and defends him, and after his impassioned speech, Yosef's famous saying, Ani Yosef ha'od avichai. And the Torah tells us, They were astonished from him. It was a tremendously frightening and astounding thing that this Adon of Mitzrayim, who's been shepherding them and torturing them, turns out to be Yosef. So the Beis HaLevi, a classic Beis HaLevi, brings a number of significant, important difficulties with this entire Indian. Number one, all of Yehuda's tainas were that he wants to save Yaakov from the torture of coming back in Binyamin's day. He wants to save his life. And now he's only been doing this whole activity on behalf of Yaakov Avinu. So then he says, Ani Yosef ha'od avichai. Where's the place for this question? It doesn't make any sense. That's number one. He's only worrying about his father's son, the Beis HaLevi says. Number two, when they came back to Mitzrayim the second time, Yosef asked them originally, Ha'asholom avichem hazokein, asher amartem odenu chai. How's your father? Now, they never came back to Eretz Yisrael. He caught them on the way and brought them back. They never left Mitzrayim. So he's asking them again, ha'od avichai? So again, there's no place for this question. And let's say, for example, let's say that the question was a valid question in whatever way it was. Where's the answer? Why didn't they answer him? The Torah does not record any answer. What did they answer him? There's a medrash brought down, which is I've seen it quoted in many places, Medrash Rabbah, and it says on this pasuk, Amar Abba Kohen Bardala. Abba Kohen Bardala said, Oy lanu miyom hadin. How woe to us from the day of din, then the day of judgment, when the judgment day will come, which will be Mashiach's sight. Oy lanu, or even after a person 120 years. This drasha, by the way, is Lila Nishmas Achi Avram Yehuda ben Aaron. In the day of reproach, Yosef Katan Shel Shvatim. Yosef was the littlest, the smallest, the most youngest of the Shvatim, of course, except for Binyamin. Lo Yachlu Echav Lano. So Kinav Halu Mipanav. They couldn't answer him because they were so astonished. The Kadosh Baruch Hu comes and gives each one his musr, his tochacha, his reproof. As the pasuk says, alachas kama v'kama. That's the medrash on this pasuk, and there's tremendous amount of drushes on this pasuk. Beis HaLevi himself says, and the obvious question is, where's there tochacha over here? Where do you see tochacha over here? Okay, you think that they were just astonished by his revealing himself suddenly that he is Yosef, because they never would have dreamt that this person is Yosef. Okay. Then the other question is, Oylan miyom hadin, Oylan miyom hatochacha. What's din and what's tochacha? So there are a lot of questions on the medrash as well. So we have to understand the pasuk that when Yosef was asking them the question, Ani ha'od avichai, it was not a kind of gentle question or an example of pious in order to appease them or to make them calm. After the pasuk, the second pasuk, after it says Minafal Upanav, it says to them, Ani Yosef Achichem. Now for the first time he says a lotion of achva, that he shows them he really loves them and considers them his brothers. But in the first pasuk it doesn't mention that at all, just Ani Yosef. It doesn't mention achva and ahava at all. When Yosef told them that he was Yosef, that was not a pious, pumfakert. This was a reproach. And this increased on them their yira and pachad, their dread and their fear that this man who was fighting with them up until this time and wants to chas v'shalom accuse them falsely is Yosef himself. He's the one that they were going to Imra, and now they have fallen into his hands and within his yichaylos, within his ability to cause them harm. And as a Beis HaLevi said, Latsos em kirtzonai. Okay, l'fi hasechel, any normal person would want to get in a coma, chas v'shalom. Okay. And in fact, that fear never left them. After Yaakov Avinu died, they went and threw themselves down at the end of Parshas Vayigash and they said, "We are your avadim," to fulfill the dreams, obviously. Okay, so they were still afraid. Maybe Yosef, Yosef, and he will return to us what's coming to us. So therefore, certainly now, they were terrified. Now when he says to them, Ha'od Avichai, the Medrash says it was not a she'ela, this was not a question, this was not an inquiry, this was a rhetorical statement. You have just finished telling me how much you care about your father. Why didn't you think of that when you sold me? That is a tremendous shtuch. Tremendous. If my father could live after you sold me, so losing Binyamin can't be anywhere near as bad as that. So that is a tremendous accusation against them, and they understood that. That was not a shaila; it was a steer on every single word that Yehuda said. Every single thing you just said was upshlucked, was destroyed. All his tinus for the Sar of Yaakov did not enter their minds when they sold Yosef. So therefore, and that's Yom HaDin, Yom HaTochacha. The din is the actual din that was coming to somebody, and the tochacha is what's resulting of your actions. I'm going to cut it here so we don't have to prolong it. I want to wish everybody a good Shabbos, and Mitzvah Hashem, we should hear Gita Basiris, and you should all have nachas from the family. We should have nachas from you, and Mitzvah Hashem, we should all be gesund and stark, and we should continue to meet by simchas and wonderful occasions. Good Shabbos.